Welcome to the Hey Soul Sista podcast, where Mel Histon will guide you through life's big questions and bring you one step closer to doing this crazy journey as best you can.
Hey Soul Sisters, you may remember a few months ago I had the wonderful Susie Russell and Peter Winnie Bartz on Hey Soul Sista podcast, and we were talking about how to rebuild your life after divorce. I've been through divorce a long time ago, but I can still remember what a tough time it is trying to navigate that with kids, exes, custody arrangements, settlements. It can be a really tough time. And you kind of go, hopefully you move on in life and you might meet somebody else, re-partner, and move past all those challenges and traumas and live a good and happy life. I think that's what we all really want at the end of the day, to live a good, soulful, happy life. Today, I'm going to explore that topic from a different angle, rebuilding after divorce, with my wonderful friend who I have here with me, Nic McClanahan. How are you going, Nic?
Hey, Mel, I'm good.
So Nic and I met 6 or 7 years ago now. We were over on Necker Island hanging out with Richard Branson. I'm not saying that as a brag, or maybe it is, I don't know. But that's where I first met Nic. We were over there with business chicks on a leadership retreat. It was a really wonderful experience, wasn't it?
Life-changing.
It was a life changer.
Yeah.
Life changer, game changer. And Nic has gone on to have a number of businesses. She currently is the founder and CEO of Human Experience. Tell us about Human Experience, Nic.
Yeah, it's a bespoke mystery shopping company. So we actually have about 3,000 shoppers across Australia and New Zealand, and companies hire us to go in and be their eyes and ears and give them some feedback on how their sales and service is being executed so they can have coaching conversations and improve the customer experience.
I think I would love to be a mystery shopper.
Oh, it's so much fun. I jump in there every now and then.
Yes.
I particularly like doing the pub ones. Go and have a beer and a pub meal. That's Human Experience.
Do you pay your mystery shoppers?
We do.
Do you ever do any in Newcastle?
We do.
Can I put my hand up?
Absolutely, you can.
I would love to do that, although I could give the game away. I don't know if I'd have a good poker face.
Yeah, there's some discretion involved there, and you definitely just need to kind of play it cool and be an ordinary customer.
I remember when I worked at Sizzler when I was 18, and we used to get mystery shoppers through all the time, and then the reports would come through to the store and they'd be like, right, this is a mystery shopper came through on this day, a mystery customer, and they would go through the report and who served them and who did what. And I remember we'd all be like so fearful but kind of excited at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
You did not want to be that staff person that had their name read out by management that you totally stuffed up, or you didn't give them sauce, or you didn't upsell. I don't know.
But this is one of the, it's not, we always train our shoppers to catch people out doing the right things wherever possible. So we give them every opportunity to get it right. But where there's constructive feedback, we just tell the story. There's no judgment or opinion. And we actually train our clients how to have coaching conversations. So it's not a gotcha or you've been caught out or a punitive tool, because it can be scary, but it's a moment in time that we can all learn from and hopefully improve the experience for our customers moving forward.
And I would just like to say that if you see me come into your shop or your business, just be careful. I could be mystery shopping you. I'm totally putting my hand up for that.
Love it.
So, Nic, founder and CEO of Human Experience, but you've had a number of businesses.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I actually have 3 at the moment, which is a bit crazy. So there's Human Experience. I have Dot on a Sock, which is my e-commerce business. It's my COVID baby. It's the business that I've wanted to do for about 5 or 6 years. So I have 3 kids, and one of the things that's always driven me mad is trying to find and pair their socks. So
I think we can all relate to that if you're a mum, trying to keep the socks paired.
It's such a first world problem, but it's real, and it can be the thing that really tips you over the edge. So we have white, black, grey and navy socks, all with a colour-coded dot system on the sole, so you can find and pair your socks really easily. So, yeah, it's lots of fun. I've really enjoyed launching that business.
I love it. So that's number 2. What's number 3?
Number 3 is Accountability Circle. So I work with female business owners and get together a group of 8 women with all different kinds of businesses, different sizes, different stages, and we hold each other to account. And it's the kind of people that want to grow their businesses and grow themselves. It's almost like an advisory board. And it's a really beautiful thing that I get to facilitate. So I have 48 women in 6 groups of 8, and we meet once a month, and it's a real pleasure to work with them.
Oh, lovely. So mum of 3?
Mum of 3, yep.
And serial entrepreneur.
Yep. Yep, that's me.
And I'm just going to mention one thing. When I was doing my research on you, because even though I know you, I did a little bit of research on you. I didn't know that you used to own Fernwood health gyms.
Yeah, I had 3. I was in business with my brother and his wife, and they were actually my first businesses. I was 29 when I went into business, first of all, and the first club that we had at the time that we opened it and ran it, it was the most successful in their history.
Wow.
And it was an awesome business. We got into that because we weren't gym buffs or anything, but it aligned with our values and the business stacked up. And then we went on to have another 2, and one was a huge success and one was an epic fail. So we had the 2 extremes in an experience over 6 years.
Yeah. Wow. And so did you end up selling those?
We sold one, we relocated the other, and we walked away from the third. So very different experiences.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Are Fernwood still around?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. There just seems to be so many gyms and health centres now that it's almost a bit hard keeping up with all of them.
Yeah, there is a lot. But, I opened that business, the first one in 2004, and a lot more people now likely to be members of a gym. There's a lot more choice as well. So, yeah, it's a very different environment to when we first opened.
What was kind of some of your biggest challenges, business challenges to date?
Biggest overall, trading through the GFC. So we sold our really big successful club just before the GFC hit in 2008. I think I've got that right. So we were quite lucky actually in terms of timing. But the one that we had left, that we had relocated, the 1-year anniversary was coming up just after the GFC. And our member base were generally women that a gym was a luxury. It was not something that they had always done before. And it's the first thing that went from their budget. So we then lost money every month for the next, I think it was 36 months, and had only had this brand new, shiny, beautiful gym that was only a year old. And that was a really, really tough time.
That would have been tough.
Yeah. And, you go from being franchisee of the year and the most successful club to being humbled to literally nearly losing everything.
What did you learn through that tough time?
How resilient you can be, and how just because something's worked for you in the past doesn't mean it will work for you in the future. And just to be able to try different things and I hate using the word pivot after COVID because
everyone pivoted, yeah.
I'm making a movement with my body at the moment. I don't know what the word is, but just, trying different things and different angles, and to keep moving forward, even if it is the 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Want to save your soul? Review us on Apple Podcast.
So through those times, were you married?
Yes, I was.
You were. And did you have kids through the Fernwood time?
Oh my God, I did. I had the first 2 kids when I had Fernwood. The second one was in a really tough time, and my breast milk dried up. I couldn't breastfeed with him, and he was quite a sick baby, and I was under a lot of stress at the time. That was a really difficult, the first 12 months of his life were really difficult.
Yeah. And so, Nic, like many of us, myself included, probably 50% of the population, at some point you went through a marriage breakdown.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So how long ago was that?
Just over 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's not an easy time.
No, it's not.
Going through marriage breakdown. When you reflect back now, could you see that was kind of always going to happen, or was it a bit of a shock for you going through?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think there was somewhere inside of me that knew it was over probably a couple of years beforehand. Like, not consciously, but one of my closest friends remembers a moment that was really tough in my marriage, and I was talking to her, and I said something to her like, "Is this all there is? Is this it? Is this what marriage is? This is crap, basically." And she said a couple of years later, when I did leave the marriage, she knew then that I was going to. So she saw the signals before I really knew. I think on some level I knew, but I think I grieved for a couple of years, and I grieved because what I thought would be was not going to be.
And I think as well, when you start to get those thoughts that at the time you probably don't necessarily know that it's going to lead to a marriage breakdown, but you probably start to have those thoughts like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly happy. You don't necessarily always go, okay, that's it, I'm leaving. It's
no,
like,
And one of my biggest strengths, I would say, would be my resilience. I'm always looking forward and I'm very positive. And so I think in some ways that was actually my Achilles heel in this relationship, that I probably was unhappy for quite some time, but because I'm positive and I'm always moving forward, I made it work. And the other thing I look back on now, it's more retrospect than at the time, but I remember I would share kind of, my experience and maybe my unhappiness around what was going on in my marriage with other women. And then they would kind of share their stories too, which was good that we were talking. But how the conversation would always land would be like, yeah, they're all the same and this is what it is. And it was like the bar was really low. And so I felt like we were all kind of putting up with it because there was nothing better, or no one knew of any utopia that would be better.
And it's funny when you think about maybe our grandma's generation, maybe our mums, but particularly like our grandma's generation, divorce just wasn't an option. So the bar was set very low and you just put up with it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my granny talking about her sister, and she'd be like, her sister's husband was abusive to her, and she'd be like, oh, he's a bugger. That man is a bugger. But no one did anything. No one intervened. Nobody said you should leave. It was like, that's just what you do.
Yeah.
That's as good as it's going to get.
And I think there's still definitely some social stigma around, you being the one. I chose to leave. I chose to end the marriage. And, you'll get a lot of people say, oh, what about the kids, the poor kids? Shouldn't you be putting the kids first? So it's hard, and financially you're often worse off. Like it's the harder choice to make. The easier one, I think, is to stay in an unhappy marriage. The harder choice is to leave.
Absolutely. My husband says, just generally, people leave when the pain of staying is worse than the pain of leaving.
Yeah, I resonate with that, definitely.
Yeah, because at certain points you go, the pain isn't that bad yet.
Yeah.
But it's like at some point, not for everybody, but for some people, the pain of staying is worse than the pain of leaving.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And the thought of actually having to start again, it's massive.
It's massive.
So what was the catalyst that finally saw you go, actually, I think I'm done?
Oh, such a good question. There were probably hundreds of little things, and I often talk about the analogy of the boiling frog. You put the frog into the water and you slowly put it on boil, but it doesn't realise that the water's boiling till it's too late. And so I'd liken my experience to that. Probably the final straw was I was overseas on a trip with the Hunger Project. I had raised $30,000 to go on this trip and learn from the great work that they were doing, really stretch my leadership skills and give back to the community. And the intent from my ex-husband was to make me feel guilty for doing this and to kind of make me feel bad while I was over there, to ruin my experience. And I just knew enough was enough. That was probably my tipping point. I came back and I was quite sure what I was going to have to do, but I was petrified. And I remember having this really great conversation with one of my best friends. And she said to me, Nic, if your daughter, my daughter at the time was 4, she was my youngest, or still is my youngest, but she was the youngest at that point at 4. If your daughter was going through this, what would you tell her to do? What advice would you give her? And I said, I would tell her to leave. I'd tell her to stand up for herself and walk away and, see what's next. And she said to me, well, why don't you love yourself as much as your daughter?
Wow.
And she said, and what you're actually doing, if you don't leave, she said, I'll still love you if you don't leave, but if you don't leave, you're giving her the opposite advice. So if you want to give your daughter that advice, maybe you need to think about what action is next.
What a good friend.
Such a great friend, and it was so wise. And that was the final, I went and got a lease on an apartment and put all the kind of things in place that I needed to extract myself from the relationship.
And how did he take it?
Oh, not very well. I think he was shocked, and that's probably partly on me. Like, I definitely tried over time to kind of talk about things, but it was still a shock to the system for him. So no, he didn't take it well. And I think for a while he was in denial. And then after I moved out, by default, which we'll talk about in a sec, I unexpectedly started another relationship. So then I think he knew it was definitely over. So it's still not amicable actually 4 years later. So it's tough.
Yeah, do you know what? My ex hasn't been amicable with me for 17 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it never does, but you just have to reach a point of moving on within yourself and being happy and kind of drowning out the noise.
Definitely. And I'm really working on, as a whole at the moment, being compassionate and, this wasn't his choice.
Yeah.
He thought this was for life and I expected more. I wanted a different looking and feeling relationship and, I made the choice to obviously marry him, but I don't think I was as educated on what a healthy relationship looks and feels like as I am now.
And I would agree. We do a lot of that with Got Your Back, Sister. We go and do run love bites in high schools and talk to kids about healthy versus non-healthy relationships. But I don't really remember anything. I mean, we did a bit of sex ed when I was in high school, but there was no talk about, okay, well, what does a healthy relationship look like? What does an unhealthy relationship look like? And what are red flags for a really unhealthy, toxic, probably abusive relationship?
There was nothing. And I'm happy to share this. My background, I was sexually abused by a family member at 4. And I was very lucky because I told a cousin who told my aunt, who told my parents, and my parents put a stop to it immediately. But there was no psychologist appointments or support. We just moved on with things. But the abuse stopped. But I wonder how that impacted me in my choices later on in my relationships. I think it definitely made me a pleaser. And I think it definitely made me put my own needs at the back end. So, and nothing, I have 3 older brothers and my parents, and my 3 older brothers basically married their childhood sweethearts. Like it was just, good middle-class Catholic family that you married your childhood sweetheart and you went on and you had babies. And that's all anyone was doing around me as well. So I think there was subconscious pressure to conform to that.
Absolutely. Were your family supportive?
Of my ex-husband?
No, of the breakup.
Not at first. Their first instinct was, what about the kids? Yeah, that was their first instinct, what about the kids? And the more I spoke to them about what was going on, the more supportive they were. And in fact, when I made the move and had a subsequent conversation with my dad, he said to me, I've got my girl back. This is the girl I had 20 years ago. You're back.
Yeah.
So I think what was really important was their first instinct was fear. What would this mean for me? What would it mean for their grandchildren? What would it mean for me financially? What would other people think? I'd spoken to my psychologist about having that conversation with my parents. And she really told me to sit in that uncomfortable thing and try and explain things and talk them through.
Because it really does. It brings up a lot of fear, doesn't it? Fear for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah. But you get through that.
You do. You absolutely do.
You totally get through it.
It wasn't going to change my mind. I remember going in I love you guys, but you're not going to change my mind. I'm really clear on what's happening.
Yeah. When I separated from my first husband, I was the only person I knew.
Yeah.
That was divorced. That was really hard.
That's really hard.
I was the only person I knew. So I faced a lot of judgment.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Not like that now.
No. No.
Let's get soulful on social media. Search the Sister Code Facebook page and follow us on Instagram.
Things did start to look up for you though, because you met somebody who has become the love of your life.
Yeah, and certainly was super unexpected. So within getting back from Malawi with the Hunger Project, I was in my own townhouse 6 weeks later. I walked out with my wardrobe and a painting and I set up a new house. And I remember lying in the bath that first night in this house and getting it ready for when the kids were coming. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've never felt happier. And I just felt peace and free, and it was fabulous. And then I started to realise that I had feelings for a friend, and I'm thinking, oh no, this is seriously the last, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes.
This is the last fucking thing I need. No. And what made this unusual was that it was a woman. So it complicates things even more so.
Yeah.
And at the time of leading up to and leaving my ex-husband, I was seeing a psychologist, which I highly recommend, you know, if you're ever struggling with any decisions or through any big moments in life, like it's having someone who is independent and trained and wants nothing but the best outcome, but not attached to what that outcome is brilliant. And I remember saying to her, so I've got feelings for this friend of mine, and I just want to put it away and like put it aside, and just I can't deal with that. It's the last thing I need right now. And she said to me, so you've been suppressing how you've been feeling for years. It would be basically neglectful of me to tell you to suppress these feelings. And the whole session became about this basically crush and feelings I had for Lisca, which was not my intention of that session. And from that session, I went back to my little place at Crow's Nest and I made a list of all the reasons to say nothing and the reasons to say something to her. And there were 27 reasons to say, and they were all fear-based. Like you look at the list, it's all fear-based. And there were 3 reasons to tell her. And the one I remember anyway, but the one that got me across the line was, this could be the one chance for me to love and be loved every day. Like just have a go. Yeah.
So at this stage, had you been with a woman before?
No.
Never?
No.
Had Lisca?
Yes, but she also identified as gay quite late as well. So she had identified about 2 years before, but prior to that had only male partners.
Yeah. That would be, so I'm going to say that would be freaky. That'd be scary. When I say freaky, I mean scary. Like to go, wow, you've not been with a woman before. Like that's kind of like jumping into I guess like a whole other world almost.
Yeah, and you know what? Cognitively, I get that. I felt it with every cell in my body, and that was the really fear didn't even. I was scared when I told her because I think I was scared of being rejected and losing a friend. And
well, it's like telling anybody that's like I'm really attracted to you, and actually I dig you. Like,
yeah.
No matter who it is.
No, exactly. Despite gender, whatever. So there was that fear, but there was no fear about her. I can't explain it because it's pure emotion, but I knew what I felt.
So, well, how did you tell her? What happened?
We went out to dinner. We were catching up a lot. We were both going through a bit of a tough time, and she'd recently broken up with a girlfriend, and she was a great support and friend through all of the breakup with my ex-husband. And we were out at dinner, and I knew I was going to say something. I thought, it's tonight, it's now or never.
Oh my God, were you so nervous?
So nervous. I did drink a little bit of wine. Anyway, it was after dinner, and I think I said to her, I have something to tell you. I have feelings for you that's more than friendship. I didn't know. You know, I'm like, I don't know, 41 years old and like feeling like a teenager basically.
Yeah.
And she was very surprised because she had not thought of me as being gay.
So she had no idea?
No.
So she's sitting there having dinner with you, and your next thing you've said, I've got feelings for you.
Yeah, we had become really close.
Yeah.
Lisca had actually gone to Malawi with us with the Hunger Project trip, and we'd really bonded there, and I certainly didn't. I just thought, oh my God, I've met a great friend, and really felt like we were very connected, and we were catching up kind of once a week. We were calling them our mental health checkups kind of on each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she was quite blindsided and was like, oh wow, I that's really unexpected. And again, I can't remember exactly what was said immediately after that. And then she said, okay, kiss me. And so I did.
What was that like, your first kiss?
It was great. And it felt really, really natural. And it always has. Yeah.
Were they like fireworks?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And I just remember I didn't want to say goodnight to her that night.
Don't you love that, the first time you kiss someone that you're into?
Oh, my God. So good. I can still remember it so clearly. In fact, we're going to dinner tonight at that restaurant. Yeah, I know. We've got a bit of a significant date today that we're celebrating to do with Lisca's work. But, yeah, we're going to that restaurant tonight, so it'll be really nice memories there.
And the cool thing is that she really is the love of your life because you're now married.
We are. We got married in September 2019. Yeah. I know,
I can
right?
see you glowing, just sitting here looking at you, the big smile on your face. And
so unexpected. Like, I never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Never. I couldn't have written it in my wildest dreams.
Yeah. Was your ex down with that? Was he cool with that?
Oh, look, I would say no. So Lisca and I had really tough discussions up front, which actually I think led to us building a really strong foundation. We had to talk about all the different permutations. Her being with me meant basically taking on 3 kids and an ex-husband.
Yeah, because Lisca, she doesn't have kids.
She doesn't have kids.
Biological kids, sorry.
No, she doesn't have, correct, yeah, biological kids. Interestingly enough, bit of a side note though, she is 6 years and 8 years older than her siblings, Georgie and Nelson. And her dad passed away when Lisca was 16. So Nelson and Georgie were 10 and 8. And she very much played a parenting role with her mum.
Yeah.
So she has stepped in with the kids, and she is a natural, beautiful, loving, caring parent.
Yeah.
And in some ways I'm like, oh my God, you've got more skills than I do, because I at that point had, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. So she definitely came in with some really, sadly, with her dad passing away, but also came in with some experience that really helped bring us together. But no, to answer your question, Mel, I decided within a 2-week period that I was not going to have a dirty little secret, and I was going to have no shame around me being with a woman. And so I told my ex-husband outright. I didn't want him hearing it from anyone else, and I didn't want it to be held over me. And shortly after that, maybe a week or so, I hadn't told the kids or anything yet, because Lisca and I were still kind of very
feeling
new.
Your way.
Yeah. And was getting advice from my psychologist. And then I heard through some friends that my ex-husband had told a whole bunch of his friends, including some dads from school. And so then my fear was, oh shit, my kids are going to find out their mum's gay on the school playground. That can't happen. So I made an appointment with the school principal. The kids go to a little Catholic school.
Yeah.
And came out to the principal in the principal's office.
What did the principal say?
She was amazing. She's like, oh, Nic, we've got transgender kids in our diocese. We can handle a gay mum. Good on you. We'll support you. What do you need?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, well, she was really, really good. So that happened. And then I had an emergency meeting with my psychologist, like, how do I manage this? And her advice was to get in front of it, to make sure that I controlled the narrative with the children, and that the kids, if Lisca felt comfortable, the kids met Lisca early on, because she might not be spoken of well otherwise. And so that's exactly what happened. And, it happened all very naturally, and the kids adore her and she adores them.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So did you have any hiccups with them adjusting, or has it been kind of smooth sailing?
Do you know, I would say overall, kids are actually really resilient, and they know how they feel, and they know how people make them feel. I would say there were more bumps along the road, particularly with one of the kids, about me leaving. There was more upset around that. But the fact that Lisca's a woman is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this day and age, it's not an uncommon thing.
No.
Yeah. So I would think even, once upon a time, I imagine kids at school, if they had same-sex parents, it could be a really big issue or something, to bully other kids about. But have your kids come up against that, or has it been okay? Not
that I know of. I think I'm really lucky in the community that we are in. Although my eldest has started high school, and again, I get on the forefront of things. I've met with the year coordinator, say, just let you know, we've got a bit of a different family situation, and just if anything comes up, I'm here, and this is the situation. So no, not that I know of. In saying that, the area that the kids go to school in is very white, is very, married, 3 kids. I'm the only gay mum there that I know of. One of my best friends is the mum of the only trans kid in the school. So we're bringing the rainbow to the Catholic school system. I must say, my experience with the Catholic school system in Sydney has been exceptional in terms of supporting me and supporting my friend who has a trans child. So I do feel like things are definitely progressing.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Want to fill your soul with more? Go to thesisterco.com.
I want to ask you a question, and you don't have to give me detail.
Okay.
But was it kind of weird or different having sex with a woman
Oh,
compared to
great
a dude?
question,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because I'm like, yeah, how does that... If you've never been with a woman, like, it's going to be your first time. It's like, yeah.
I was probably more nervous that am I not doing it right? Because Lisca had been
With a woman.
with two women prior to me. She had 2 relationships prior to me. And I remember she said to me, well, it's easy. You know what you like. And I remember just relaxing. But I 100% identify as being gay because I enjoy sex way more than I ever have. And it feels really natural to me. So, yeah.
That's interesting. So you don't think of yourself as bi, like totally...
No.
Yeah.
If anything, and touch wood, if anything was to ever happen to Lisca and I, either I'd be with no one or a woman. Like, I wouldn't go back.
I'm just going to say, I love this crazy life, you know, where you just, like, 20 years ago, you would never have thought you would be here and living, you've met the love of your life. You probably, life now is not what you would have anticipated back then, but it's so wonderful to see you so happy.
Yeah, like I've even had friends from school that I haven't seen for years that will comment on a photo that they see me in now with Lisca saying, oh my God, I've never seen you so happy. And I do agree with that whole saying around you can't be what you can't see. I didn't know anyone who was outwardly gay for my whole childhood. I didn't know many gay women early in my adult life. I knew and had gay men in my circles. So I don't know, it just wasn't even on my periphery. But now I look back, it's interesting. I look back in retrospect, I'm like, oh yeah, there was probably a sign there. Like, and I guess I could delve into that to work out, you know, have I always been? But my psychologist's like, only go there if you want to. I'm like, no, I'm actually really clear that I'm with the person that I'm meant to be with. And yeah.
That's great. Did you lose any friends or family over it?
No.
Because people can be judgy.
Yeah.
Like not even around that. Like school mums can be super judgy about what you pack your kids for lunch. Like,
yeah. Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if anyone has, you know, taking a wide berth because I'm the resident lesbian. I'm not too sure. Probably the hardest conversation was my dad. My dad's very conservative, very Catholic, in his 70s. And I was really scared. I was really scared to tell him. And that was that conversation I referred to earlier. He said to me, darling, I don't care. I've got my girl back. If you're happy, I'm happy. And has been super supportive, you know, got up and told this beautiful speech at our wedding and, you know, mic drop moments and had everyone crying. And he's just happy, I'm happy. I actually think some friendships have dropped off. I actually think that's more about the marriage breakdown than the fact I'm with a woman.
And you know what? That happens naturally.
Yeah.
You know, you talk to anybody that has a marriage breakdown and you lose friends some way. People pick sides.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. Yeah. And that saddened me because there were a couple of friends there that I really didn't think I would lose. So there was that. I had to grieve that.
Yeah. So, Nic, what have you learned about yourself?
I've always thought of myself as resilient, but I'm way more resilient actually than what I ever perceived I could be. I think of that 6-week period when I was leaving my ex-husband. I was running a pretty substantial size business with 5 or 6 employees. I was couch surfing off friends' couches. I was getting up early, getting the kids ready for school, getting them off to school, then coming back at the end of the day, getting them to bed, and then going and couch surfing, all meanwhile trying to work out my exit plan and take care of my mental health and work out how I was going to make this work. Yeah, I think about that period and that uncertainty, that financial uncertainty and, you know, being scared of what this was going to look like.
I do say though that some of the best things come from putting yourself into that uncomfortable feeling, that uncomfortable situation.
Definitely. I remember saying to people, probably haven't said it for a while, life feels 10 times harder, but I'm 100 times happier. And that's how I felt. Everything was hard, but I was just so happy.
We just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And what have you learned about life?
You can't write it and you don't want to write it. Just to be open to new experiences and trust in the universe and don't force it too much.
Do you ever think about what your life would look like now if you never told Lisca how you felt about her?
No, I can't. She is so much part of my world. No, I can't. And it's funny, I think back, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, do you have any regrets? Is there anything that you would change? You know, what if you realised that you were gay before you had met your husband, or had you not married him? And I can't imagine that either, because we have 3 incredible kids, and the only way that they could be here on this earth was for me to be with him. And so if that's the way the stars had to align for them to be here, that's perfect. That's perfectly okay. And I feel really happy about the time that I made the decision, as hard as it was, and as hard as it still is sometimes.
Well, I say hats off to you, because we talk about rebuilding after a divorce. My friend, you have totally rebuilt and gone on a whole separate path that you probably never expected. But it's so great to see you so happy. And I think you're a testament to taking a chance, speaking up, and actually going for what makes you happy.
Definitely. And if that advice, I go back to what my friend said, if that advice is good enough for your kids, why don't you love yourself as much as you love your kids? And if you don't live that way, then you are giving them the opposite advice. So that has just always stayed with me. What would I want? What would I advise my kids? That's what I need to go for.
Amen, sister. Okay, beautiful Nic. If people want to know more about you or come and check out your business, or they want to be a mystery shopper, where can they find you?
Our website, so humanexperience.com.au. So yeah, definitely you can apply to be a mystery shopper there. Or if you're a business that wants to know what's happening on your shop floor or over the phone or online, check us out. The Dot on a Sock business is really easy. It's dotonasock.com.au.
For all the mums out there that want socks that match for their kids, yep.
Oh my God, yeah. And Accountability Circle is also accountabilitycircle.com.au. We have a few vacancies for business women at the moment to join our circles.
Well, Nic, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, because you really have been so brave going after what it is that makes you truly happy, and it's so wonderful to see you happy.
And the rewards are there.
Hey, thanks, Soul Sister.
Thanks, Mel.
Thanks for listening to Hey Soul Sister with Mel Histon. What would help you on your crazy life journey? Email Melissa at thesistercode.com.